Ready.
For more than a decade, the BGK family has been a champion of dreams. It's the dreams of those who work for a better tomorrow that drive us to reach our greatest potential. We are here to support our kingdom partners, their families, their ministries, and our communities.
BGK 24/7 Online Christian TV Network. Making what was once impossible, possible.
Hi, this is Apostle Dr. Stinson. Welcome to Dinner Table Conversations on the BGK by the Ruhr channel. We thank you for tuning in. We never take it lightly that you take your time and you tune in to listen to us every week. And I am so happy. Listen, I just want to get some housekeeping things in order. Don't forget, if you're on the go, we know this is a very busy season, to download our BGK app from any mobile store, and you can catch us on the go on any device. Also, to get in touch with me, you can call me at 1-866-200-9850. I just want to remind you that all of our shows now are on our YouTube channel. And if you are a micro ministry looking to up-level your ministry, to feature it, please contact BGK Network and just have a conversation about taking that ministry to the next level. I can guarantee you, you will not be disappointed. So let's get to our guest today. I am so happy to have Latrice back with us today, and she has a new book that we're going to hear a wonderful story of how rejection and how lack of being loved caused her to go in one direction, but by the grace of God, he led her back. Hi, Latrice. How are you doing? Welcome back.
I'm doing fine. Thank you for having me again.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, I thank you for contacting us. I was so fascinated with everything. You have a new book that's coming out. You're co-author, and it's a collaborative effort. But you tell a fascinating story about going from being heterosexual to bisexual to back to heterosexual. And you as we talk, you're not ashamed of what happened. Out of everything that happened, you talk about rejection, you talk about loss, you talk about a flood, you talk about getting rejection after rejection, you talk about divorce, you talk about how the seduction is so unsettling that you really don't know it before you're in it. And you talked again about how you just walked away from it. And so, as I said to my audience, it's a pretty adult show with this one because we're going to just let it all out in the open. So, Latrice, tell us about how did you get hooked up with the No Residue collaborative project with the co-authors?
So, with no more residue, I remember just being asleep. Something woke me up. I always say God woke me up. And I always grab my phone first. And I'm searching Facebook, and I get a message from Crystal Cunningham. And she's like, hey, God told me to reach out to you about my book collaboration. And I said, well, that's crazy. I've been thinking about writing a book for a while now. I've actually started a few, but just never pushed forward. And so she said, well, think about it. And I said, okay, cool. So we went through contracts and kind of went back and forth. And the Holy Spirit actually led me on what to contract with and what not to, when it came to the book project.
And at the time that you began to collaborate with the co-author, the lead author of this book, were you ready to tell your story?
I was, in all honesty, I was ready to tell another story, which was how my 1-year-old, pretty much was born, and
Mhm,
how I met
mhm,
her father. So
mhm,
I was battling between unveiling Pandora's box and just speaking about not being able to have any more abortions, thus
mhm,
says the Lord. So,
mhm,
between the two, I just kept being nudged from God to speak on the bisexual journey due to what's going
mhm.
on in today's society.
So, and my God, it's so prevalent. Um, let's talk a little bit about the abortions that you mentioned in your chapter. Um, uh, what led you to the abortion was because that when if you received the pregnancy test that the father rejected it, or in your chapter you talk about being in the car and you are in a conversation and there was just a numbness of the person whose child this was. Can you talk a little bit about that?
In all honesty, I had had one previously by my ex-husband, and so
Mm-hmm,
it was one of those. I just wasn't ready for more children. It was a one night stand, just being
mm-hmm,
honest.
mm-hmm,
And to get up the next day, I kind of knew right after, like, whoa, I think I'm pregnant. But to
mm-hmm,
take the test, and he asked, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to have an abortion. There was
mm-hmm,
no choice from him. It was for me at the time. It was a selfish choice, but it was just where I was in life at the time.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
There was no reasoning behind it besides this is just what I want to do.
mm-hmm,
And so he provided the money. He provided someone to come and clean the home and made
mm-hmm,
sure that I had something to eat.
mm-hmm,
But it was still my solid choice.
mm-hmm. Well, and then in your chapter you mentioned that, and then you mentioned that there was a big flood in Atlanta or in Douglasville, and you had to move back to your hometown, which you thought was a good thought. You talk a lot about your life journey in your book, but what is so fascinating is you talked about rejection and what led you to. And yes, this book is about brave Christian women sharing from from what I call the secret garden about the tales of sex trafficking, addictions, incarceration, and shame, rejection, and so much more. I can't wait to get the entire book. But Latrice, we have it up on the screen before we go into the rest. Tell them how to get this book right now. I know you're in pre-sales.
Yes, it's nomoreresidue.com/Latrice Gatison. And you can also find me on Facebook, Latrice Gatison, if you can't remember the link. And it's normally posted once or twice a week.
Okay, and so let's talk about rejection, lack of love, a lot of rejection, and then seduction that led you to a bisexual relationship. The struggles you had within that being a Christian woman, and then the struggle you had in coming out of it. But how did that you talk? And what you say is that you called your godfather, probably a gift from God, who began to nurture you out of this bisexual relationship. You also talked about that every once the bisexual relationship happened after you all went out drinking and laying in nude and stuff like that, and then this person became your best friend, became that commandant that would help you, and that person began to tell you how beautiful to validate you because you were feeling so much rejection. Again, I want you all to know this is an X-rated adult conversation today. Okay, go ahead, Latrice.
So I discussed how my first incident was someone that was extremely close to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she was going through a bad marriage. I was going through a bad marriage. sat
Mhm.
down with her, having a conversation and just kind of pouring out our guts.
Mhm.
And she began to speak on how beautiful I was, how she liked when I got dressed up to go out because I always looked like a doll to her. And, I
Mhm.
always lived that extra lifestyle of tales that she never got to live.
Mhm.
And so instead of consoling her, is what I spoke on in the book, I allowed the seduction, of me wanting to just make her happy at
Mhm.
the time. And I allowed her to do whatever she wanted to do at the time. And of course, I was involved. And that
Mhm.
was the first encounter. And with that being said, after it happened, I remember just getting up, getting dressed, and never thinking ever of doing it again.
Mhm.
As I got older, I looked at the fact that I should have been a friend. I should have
Mhm.
wiped the tears. I should have prayed with her. I should have talked to her
Mhm.
instead of laying down with her. And so
Mhm.
the next portion I speak on is a girl that I actually went into a relationship with. Um,
Mhm.
After the abortion that I spoke of,
Mhm.
we actually would party together and kind of get drunk and hang out. And
Mhm.
everybody just thought we just had a new friend that was partying with us, even though
Mhm.
she dressed as a stud. And I remember we
So
drove
she dressed as a man. So she had
as a
fully
man.
just come into it. She dressed as a man. Okay. And how did your friends
It was the
take that?
beginning process.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Well, my
Wow.
sisters are, like I said, they're spiritual led as well, but they went with the program. Hey, if that's your friend, that's our friend. She was
Mhm.
fun. We went to
Mhm.
school together, so she was someone that we knew.
Mhm.
Crazy thing is, I couldn't stand her in school. but
Okay. Mhm.
but went out, got drunk one day after we rode together, came back to the house, laying across the bed talking, which is something I do with all my friend girls.
Uh-huh.
Nothing of it, thinking, at the time. And one thing led to another. We had sex, and the next morning it was like, holy crap, what did I do?
Uh-huh.
And kind of ignored it again. We partied and just kept going on as if nothing was going on. Well, the
Mhm.
wrong friend found out. And when the wrong friend found out, this is a friend that tells at the time everything to everybody.
Mhm.
So I became fearful that my family
Mhm.
would find out. So I remember just sending out a mass text to my mom, my sisters, my grandmother, my ex-husband, close friends, and I said, I have a girlfriend now. I'm gay. I'd rather tell you before somebody else does.
Oh my goodness.
And
Uh-huh.
I remember that night where me and this young lady actually argued because she was so upset that I didn't tell her that this is the lifestyle that I was thinking about living. So to me, as I look back now, it's like I sort of was forced into it because now I've already told everybody in fear of her telling them first or the streets talking. And
Mhm.
now me and this lady, we actually went into a relationship. We lived together. Um, I actually hid bank accounts with her from my ex-husband because we were separated. And, people would tell him, hey, she has his business now. Um,
Mhm.
you can go in and you can get alimony because she's making all this money. So in order
Mhm.
for me to hide it from him, I'm thinking, hey, put your name on the bank account and I'll lie and tell him that you're my business partner. So I
Mhm.
also tell in the story how she actually had been still talking to another young lady
Mhm.
and wanting to redate her, but wanting to clear out my bank account was the conversation between the two.
Mhm.
And we're
Mhm.
talking like at the time, if I remember correctly, maybe 60 to 80, 85,000, sitting in the bank account at the time.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. So, and this is coming from the bottom of losing everything to, having this business. And I'm like, whoa, get your stuff, get out.
Mhm.
So that was an eye opener. First and only actual relationship with a woman. But I realized they do the same things as men
Mhm.
do. Um,
Mhm.
and then I had another escapade with another great friend. And it was
Mhm.
another seductive moment. It was, hey, I want to learn how to do taxes. Do you mind showing me? Oh, girl, you can come over. I'll show you. And it went from me
Mhm.
showing her to, hey, I just got out of training. Do you mind if I take a quick shower before we start? Yeah, go upstairs, take a shower, no problem.
Mhm.
And she comes downstairs with a towel wrapped around her, and I just want to tell you what I really want. And that went on behind closed doors for years. Um, and I also tell the story of what made me, her leaving toys on the counter. And I think that
Right,
was my eye opener.
right,
That was my
right,
eye opener of I can't do this.
right, right. And you also, and so you also, you're talking a lot about, you believe that it led from seduction, rejection, being divorced, not being validated as a woman, and how we all seek love from the opposite sex. And after several failed relationships, they showed you love, and then one thing led to another. But being the Christian that you are, you recognize throughout your chapter that this was wrong. Something, that seed that was in you, that your parents and everybody planted in you, you recognized that it was wrong. But because they loved you, I'm sure they were praying in the background. Okay. And so this is, and why I wanted to tell a story is that this is happening right in high school, right in grade school. And
Gosh, yes.
our children, our young girls and young boys, are being seduced in that way because of rejection. Talk a little bit about subjection, how rejection leads to seduction, leads to what happened with you as a bisexual relationship that went on for years.
Well, this is something I'm extremely open with my daughter and her friends.
Mm-hmm.
Because I see, having a teenager, I see the chat boxes, I see the Instagram pages, I see what the friends try to force upon each other.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it is, it's insecurities, it's lack of attention.
Mm-hmm.
It is, and one thing I missed in the book was even telling about my rape.
Mm-hmm.
There's molestation, there is daddy issues. A lot of these things have led a lot of individuals into this lifestyle. So
Mm-hmm.
being someone that has lived the lifestyle, the first thing we say is, this is how I am. This is how I
Mm-hmm.
am. I don't care what anybody
Yeah.
says. This is, some
Yeah.
people say this is how I was born. To each his
Mm-hmm.
own. I don't judge. But um, one thing I know for a fact is I was rejected. I
Mm-hmm.
was lied to. I had someone actually lie to tell me someone was in the hospital on
Mm-hmm.
their deathbed. Like I said, I chose abortion, but of course, I had lost miscarriages. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Even it doesn't matter the fact of the beauty that I had, because at the time I did have a perfect size,
Mm-hmm.
very beautiful woman that,
Mm-hmm.
would always attract guys. And for some reason, and I'm thinking just passed down generationally, the
Mm-hmm.
seduction, because I've danced at one point. My mom did, my grandmother did, prior
Mm-hmm.
to going into other businesses. So I've
Mm-hmm.
always been taught the seductive lifestyle,
Mm-hmm.
in which persuasion, being able to talk to someone to get
Mm-hmm.
what you want out of that person. And unfortunately, sometimes it backfires. My
Mm-hmm.
daughter has the same gift, my 15-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
But it comes from the lack of attention across the board, whether it
Wow.
be from a significant other, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's from a parent, friends, and family. Most people want that attention from somewhere. And with me, I was craving that attention
Wow.
from someone that would just talk to me. That at
Mm-hmm.
the time, it wasn't even the touchy feely, type of
Mm-hmm.
attention. It was just, I wanted communication. That's the word. I was lacking communication and attention, and love,
Mm-hmm.
compliments from someone in general. And it didn't have to come, unfortunately, from the opposite sex.
Wow, let me break in for it. Listen, we are listening to Latrice Gaston, and this is Dr. Sonia Stinson, Dinner Table Conversations on the Rural Channel, hosted by our partners BGK Network. We just thank you for tuning in. If you need to get in touch with me, just call me at 200 9850. That's 866. And also, you can email me. You can go to my website. And if you're looking to up-level your ministry, this is the platform you need to join us. We're looking for new partners, especially coming in the new year. Latrice, I want to get back to you because I want you to candidly talk to those young women and men that are possibly being seduced at this time. You have a 15-year-old daughter. There are struggles out there right now, and you mentioned it, rejection. I want, and one of the things you mentioned, which you say a little bit in your book, and I'm sure this is going to be go further, communication. You needed communication. You needed just somebody to talk to, which led to you believing that the opposite sex was the best thing. Can you talk to someone, but also give them a little bit more information on how to get the book, when the book will be available for full publications, and your website?
Okay, so let's discuss one thing that children don't understand, and I'll say teenagers,
Uh-huh.
whether male or female. A lot of you fail to realize that any small amount of attention will drive you to someone.
Mm-hmm.
And being hurt, a lot of times individuals that go into that lifestyle, even in a suicide lifestyle, a lot of it is healing that is needed. It's a broken person that does
Mm-hmm.
not realize that they're broken. It is molestation, it is rape, it
Mm-hmm.
is not getting attention. Say, for instance, you're too tall or you're a little heavier than others, and you're being
Mm-hmm.
rejected by friends and family members and
Bully.
people at school. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what they call it right now. It's bullying.
Mm-hmm.
But you're looking for an outlet. Whether it is a communicative outlet, whether, like I said, if it's a lack of attention outlet, you want somebody that is going to relate to you.
Mm-hmm.
Don't allow it to use it as a tool to pull you in, because it's
Mm-hmm.
happening. It's happening. It doesn't matter where the individual is on this earth, especially
Mm-hmm.
during this pandemic. It's
Mm-hmm.
happening more than ever.
Wow.
And one of the major ones right now is being abused, silent people that are holding in molestation and rape, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
from someone that you don't know in the street, a friend or a family member,
Mm-hmm.
but feeling like you're less than the other.
Mm-hmm.
Understand love.
Mm-hmm.
Understand love. Loving yourself first. One
Mm-hmm.
thing I didn't do at the time was love myself. I hated myself. I
Mm-hmm.
hated to see myself coming and going. I didn't see the beauty within myself. I felt
Mm-hmm.
like a complete mess. I
Mm-hmm.
felt like I was lack thereof, like I just could not fit in,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of what I did.
Wow.
So therefore,
Mm-hmm.
I sought attention from the wrong, and I'm not even going to say the wrong individual. I sought the wrong attention from this particular individual. We could
Right.
have kept it as a friendship. And so,
Mm-hmm.
one thing I teach my daughter, which is 15, I teach her that she's a healer.
Mm-hmm.
So hurt people, broken people attract broken people.
Right.
And so
Mm-hmm.
those individuals that you are attracting, sometimes they just need a listening ear. You will be surprised what they have embedded inside of them that needs to get out. And the
Mm-hmm.
crazy part about it is once that thing gets out of that individual, you will be surprised, just like myself, when they look in the mirror and they realize I was broken. I was hurting. I was rejected. I felt misused, abused. You'll realize, and I'll say 9 out of 10, because you still have those individuals that say I was born this way. And like
Mm-hmm.
I say, to each his own. But 9 out of 10, you'll realize that that person honestly was not on the same bisexual journey that the next person is on. And
Wow.
so they feel at a point where they have to do what I did, which is come back and apologize and say, you know what, I stepped on your toes. I was in the wrong territory. I
Huh.
honestly just needed a friend. That is
Mm-hmm.
not the journey that I wanted to take.
Wow.
So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this portion of the show. I am Latrice Gatison. You can catch me on Facebook at Latrice Gatison. Website latricegatison.com. You can catch me at Latrice G _ at Visionaire Academy LLC.com. And with the book, it's nomoreresidue.com / Latrice Gatison.
And I am so proud of you, Latrice, for being willing to tell your story. Indeed, just the
Thank
fascinating
you.
story that you're telling, and now you're using your gifts to really let others know in where you are from Georgia, to let you know. And so I want to thank you for being brave, being a brave woman and a prophet. Thank you for coming into our show. This is Dr. Sonia Stinson on the Rural Channel, hosted by our partners, BGK Network. Listen, if you want to up-level your ministry, get it out on the airwaves, get it out to countries. Please connect with us, bgknetwork.org, and just have a conversation. If you need to get in touch with me, I can be reached at Sonia Stinson Ministries at gmail.com, or you can call me at my toll-free number, 866-200-9850. I thank you for tuning in. Never take it lightly. God bless you, and see you next time.
Matthew House comes from the scripture of Matthew 25:35. I was a stranger and you took me in. I was hungry and you fed me. I was thirsty and you gave me drink. I was in prison and you came to visit me. That's how we developed Matthew House. 3 African American men who had the compassion and the love of people, who are all veterans. My name is Dr. Sonia Ricketts Stinson, and I am the Executive Director and the CEO of Matthew House.
Right now we're in the common room, which is also named as the day room. This is where most of our clients eat during the daytime. This is where they can watch TV. This is where they can socialize.
Hi, my name is Kirsten Dickens. I work as a nurse practitioner and one of the providers at Heartland Alliance Health. So here, Heartland Alliance has a number of outreach sites around the city, so linkage agreements with certain sites where we take our typical outpatient clinic model and bring it in to specific outreach sites, Matthew House being one of them.
Where they can go and get their public entitlement benefits, or helping with a storage bin, supplying the blankets, or supplying the toiletries. Cleaning supplies is something we take for granted. Other things that we have to get done. There's building maintenance that we have to take care of. There's the supported service at the program staff who have to definitely be here from 12 hours a day in order that the individuals are not in the heat and they're not in the cold. So we need your help. We need your financial support.
We need volunteers. You can go to our website at MatthewHouseChicago.org. There's a donation button, but most of all, we need funds. We need all that we can get to fix this building because these people need a place to be.
And I'm glad I'm here, and I will continue to be here until I'm not here anymore.